Hey guys, it's Coach Sean here. We've got demos for the home workouts for the week of April 30th, and we're going in order from days 1 through 4. So first up on the menu on day 1, it's a tempo day, so we're doing lower body movements and an upper body movement also with a tempo of a 3-1-3-1. So that means a slow 3-second controlled descent in the goblet squat as we see here. 1 second pause in the bottom, and then a 3-second controlled up. Now, I'm probably going a little bit faster than 3 seconds on the way up, so be a little bit better than me at this. Use any object. Use a gallon of water. If you took a dumbbell from the gym, use that. Use a kettlebell. You can use a weight plate. Pretty much anything. It's important to be holding something in roughly this goblet hold here so that we can be sitting into a nice vertical position. It's going to help you brace a little bit better. And hopefully we understand tempo a little bit more. The first number is always the descent of the movement. The second number is a pause or the time at the end range of that movement. The third number is the ascent or the concentric portion. And the last number is usually the time between. So about a 1 second between repetitions. And we're doing the same exact thing here on rear foot elevated split squats. You can do this on a couch, on a chair, on a bench, whatever you got. Nice and controlled throughout the whole movement. With weightlifting, we're so used to training overload because overload is the easiest way to get strong. But there's a bunch of other ways we can continue to improve our fitness, and one of them is just gathering time under tension. And you guys know when we work eccentrics or pauses that we do this all the time. So here's Taylor demoing our snatch skill work, okay? We're just gonna do a little bit of snatch complex. I believe it's for 5 sets, 5 reps, everything. I know you may not have a barbell available to you. If you do, please use it. If you have a broomstick or a wooden dowel, please use it. But everybody should be able to get a PVC pipe pretty easily. We're starting off with 5 snatch deadlifts, followed by 5 tall muscle snatches. So that means really no drive with the legs on those muscle snatches. It's pretty much an all-arm movement, keeping the bar close up the shirt. We've got 5 overhead snatch grip presses. That's going to lead us into our overhead squats. Even though these aren't weighted, it's important for us to try and maintain these positions, and we can definitely accomplish that with something as light as PVC pipe. In fact, it'll probably be even more challenging because you're not going to get the benefit of load forcing you into position. You're going to have to actually identify and think about gain some proprioceptive awareness of the parts of your body that are going to do this. So to close out the snatch complex, we've got 5 hang squat snatches. So make sure you're still getting those extra squats in instead of just doing powers. So that's our snatch complex. We're moving on. So this is in the Metcon for day 1. These are inverted towel rows. Okay, so we've done inverted rows or ring rows before. You don't have to use a towel to do this. This is just something that a movement I recalled in case you don't have like a desk or a table. If you have a desk or a table that's sturdy and you could put your hands on either end of it, it's going to be a lot easier than this. If you do use this, make sure you get the longest towel you got. This one was barely long enough here, so get a nice big beach towel. And as you can see, I'm getting a lot of extra movement for my hips because I'm having a hard time with this because I can't center myself under there in the power rack, but that's a tough movement, so don't be afraid if it's hard. Moving on to our jump series, we start off with these bunny hops. These are just a nice little warm-up for day 2, getting our plyometrics in. We don't do a lot of jumping, and you got to get warmed up, so make sure you're doing double and single leg bunny hops. We're going to follow up with just some regular little jump squats, squatting all the way down, and don't worry about the height too much there. We're just going to give ourselves a good jump and start moving around. Here, I want to see these slow and controlled. These are lateral skater hops. So I'm focusing a lot on settling in and getting myself in control, my body balanced before I go into to the next jump. Make sure you do the same. And then here's the biggest moneymaker for raw plyometric explosiveness is the broad jumps. Here, go ahead and challenge yourself and try and see how far you can go. After all those warm-ups, we should be ready to really hop. Okay, and this is the core workout. There's a little bit of a shuttle, I believe, sprints on the minute on day 2. These are the hollow to arch rolls, okay? Make sure you're doing them as strict as Taylor is here. Don't just roll into it. A good tip to do these well is to follow your hand as you're turning over. Day 3, we have some skill work, some handstand holds. So this is be a standard handstand hold. Most of you are familiar with this, just kicking up on the wall. You can also walk up into it if you prefer, like I'm doing here. If you're not comfortable, this is just fine. Just make sure you're getting in as vertical of a position as you can. As I am here, I'm getting as close to that wall as possible, whether I'm kicking up into it or walking up into it. All right. Day 3, we have the most upper body work and implement work. So you can do bench dips on a bench as I am, or you can do these on the couch. You can do these with a sturdy chair. Any of those are fine. I could probably get my feet a little bit closer during that movement, but go through as full of a range of motion as possible. Some backpack rows. You can do this with, weights again, if you got them. Any of these movements, if you guys actually got bar or weights and you're at home, use them instead of the implements. But these are just standard bent over rows. I've got maybe 20 pounds in that gym bag right now. And give it a little pause at the top of the row. You could do this with a suitcase, any number of items that you might be able to load up. All right, curls for the girls. I'm doing it with some gallons of water here. Now on this movement, it's pretty easy. So I think it's prescribed 3 sets of 15. I would just do this for 3 sets to failure. All right. If 15 is where that is, that's okay. You can do them single or double armed. Doesn't matter too much. Or do these with weights. Next, we're going to have tricep kickbacks. So you can go ahead and get a bent over position. Start with your arm rowed up, and then nice, straight, strict lengthening extension of the elbow. Using that tricep to push that weight back. This is also for 3 sets of 15, or you could do this to failure depending on how difficult or how easy it might be with the gallon of water. Okay, this is the associated conditioning for the day. So you can do this. I'm doing it with a gallon of water. You can do it with weight, whatever. We're doing alternating snatches here. And make sure that implement touches the floor, especially if you're only using a gallon of water. Let's get a full range of motion in. All right. And this is going to lead into our single arm overhead squat. So whatever implement you're using to do the snatches, you're just going to hold it up in one arm and sit down the best you can. Good to put a hand over there at the side. And instead of looking down like I am, good to be looking on the horizon. It's going to help you keep your balance a little bit more. It's going to look a lot shittier on this side. But do your best. And even if you're not hitting depth, it's okay. I'd rather see controlled overhead squats, even if the depth isn't all the way down there. And then pick up your paint bucket, your suitcase, whatever you got, whatever the heaviest thing is you can load, and you can do some single arm carries. Nice and controlled. I think it's 100 feet each side. Now, talking about dead bugs. Now, a lot of you are doing dead bugs pretty sloppy, so let's go through it. You start with the arms up, nice and straight, shoulders dug into the floor, then legs up with your toes pulled down. So my legs are as straight as I can get them. We're doing opposite arm, opposite leg, so contralateral dead bugs here. But everything is straight. My knees don't bend while I do this movement. They stay the same straightness they are at the peak. Okay, and my feet don't touch the floor. They're not just banging down. Everything is slow, controlled, there's tension, and focus on pushing your lower back into the floor, keeping a nice flat back while you're doing your dead bugs. All right, leading into some skill work. This should be day 4. You can use a bar, whatever you got. We'll just say you got a PVC pipe. Try and keep that pipe behind your ears while you're doing these overhead walking lunges. Stay nice and controlled. Try and bury that back knee and keep your torso upright. Don't be leaning while you're doing this. These are some inchworms. We did these last week. They're basically like just an up and down or a plank walkout. Just going back and forth. Start getting your hands as close to your feet as possible, bending over, lengthening out until you're in a push-up or a plank position, and then walking right back up. And we're going to follow these up with some good mornings. Now, if you took a band from the gym, use that. If you don't have a band, you can order them from anywhere for pretty cheap. Amazon's having some trouble getting stuff to people right now, but there's plenty of places you can get resistance band from for a pretty affordable price. Or you can do this with load. If you have a bar, if you have a plate, you can hold it behind your head. Just doing them without body weight wouldn't actually recommend because it's just going to be too easy, but you can do that as well if you got nothing else lying around the house, but I doubt that. So that's our skill portion for that day. We have long aerobic cardio and then 2 core movements to follow it up with. The first being a wall sit. If you have plates, go ahead and use them for the wall sit here. Get in a 90-90 position, leaning up against the wall. Or you can just grab as many heavy books as possible and stack them up on you. Whatever you've got to make this challenging. We have 60-second holds, and these are going to be followed up with some more ab work, some windshield wipers. Key on the windshield wipers, try as best as possible. Taylor was struggling here in this video, but as best as possible, keep your upper back on the floor. It won't stay completely flat the whole time while you do this, but we don't want those arms flying up. Okay, that's actually pretty good there. We don't want any more than what Taylor's doing right there. She's able to keep the arms down. So that's all the movements that should come into question this week for that home workouts. If you guys have any questions, just comment, send us a message, and look forward to seeing you guys do them.